The Sigma 16-28mm F2.8 is an affordable ultra-wide lens for the Sony E-mount and L-mount. I've been using it on my trip that I took to Italy recently, and in today's video, I just want to share my thoughts. The reason why I chose to bring this lens to Italy is I was going to visit some grand churches, the Vatican, some museum with lots and lots of art. I just wanted something super wide to capture like the whole entire space, and I thought this was the perfect choice because I didn't have any other ultra wide lenses out there that could do zoom. The Sigma 16-28 is lightweight and compact for a full frame lens. It's almost the same size as my Viltrox 13mm f1.4, just a little bit longer, and it has a 72mm filter thread size with a constant f2.8 aperture. The constant f2.8 aperture was very clutch for me because I was inside some museums checking out the art, and in some spots there weren't much natural light coming in. So having that f2.8 aperture to gather in a lot of light was plenty helpful. The lens barrel does not extend when you zoom in. Everything is internal, making this lens a very great option for gimbals because you don't need to readjust or calibrate the gimbal after zooming into a different focal length, which I find to be a plus. So for any of you real estate shooters out there, this lens could be the lens that you get. I honestly love the build of Sigma lenses. They're really, really nice. This is probably my third Sigma lens that I've owned, and I couldn't be happier with a Sigma purchase. I think the selling point of this lens is just the size of this ultra wide lens. Like I said before, this full frame lens is almost the same size as my APS-C lens, the Viltrox 13mm f1.4. If any of you guys are aware, the 16-35mm ultra-wide zoom lens from the likes of Sony or even Panasonic, they're quite huge compared to this lens right here. Sure, you lose some reach with the Sigma, but that's okay because it makes this lens very small, neat, and compact, lightweight, making this a very, very good travel-friendly option. The images that I get from this lens is really, really good. It has that clean look. I call it the Sigma look because I know what I'm going to get from any Sigma lens. It's just a sharp image all around and with great detail. Just be mindful there is some distortion with this lens that goes away with the pictorial profile correction in post. While I was using this lens as a lens to document my travels, I had no issues with the image quality. I really enjoy what Sigma has been putting out so far. I took pictures of food, architecture, some portraits of the wife. It was doing it all for me. Shooting this at f2.8, it has decent sharpness. It's really good either on the wide end at 16mm or on the long end at 28mm. I thought the images taken from those focal lengths look real good. The bokeh on this lens is not bad, being that it is an ultra wide lens. I wasn't expecting much bokeh from this lens anyways. If you can get close up to a subject, you can really blur out. You can blow out the background a bit, making it blurry. And once you stop it down, you're going to get images that are incredibly sharp across the frame. I was really happy with the shots that I've been getting. Obviously, this lens is great for architecture and real estate. From really wide at 16mm all the way to 28mm. You see quite the difference, as you can see in some of these images right here. I think the autofocusing works great on the Panasonic S5ii. I don't have any issues with it. During my travels, I pointed to a subject and it did a great job acquiring the focus for me. For video, it does a great job in locking into my face. I put myself in this vlog situation, walking up and down the hallway, and it stayed on me throughout, so I'm very impressed. And whenever I do use this lens for video, it's usually for my talking head videos for YouTube. I think it does a great job at keeping it locked onto my face throughout the entire video. I have zero issues when it comes to video autofocusing. And let's talk about the price. For its price at $899, I think it's a great price comparing to what is out there for the L-mount system. And the only competition out there for the L-mount, and that is the Lumix S Pro 16-35mm f4. And that costs almost $1,500 for an f4 lens. That's freaking insane. So for $600 less, you're getting a constant f2.8 lens. It's light and it's compact. And I think for most people, this is going to be the better option unless you really need that extra reach that you would get from the Lumix S Pro 16-35mm. If you compare this to like the E-mount out there, the 16-35mm f2.8 from Sony, that thing costs around $2,000, and the 16-35mm f4 lens from Sony costs around $1,200. So again, this Sigma is an incredible value for the ultra wide lens. I think Sigma knocked it out of the park with this lens. I had a blast using this lens on my Italy trip, seeing how grand the architecture in Italy gets. with this lens is just amazing to see. If you're interested in this lens, links to it are down in the description below. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the Sigma 16-28mm f2.8? Do you guys have it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And if you find this video valuable in any ways, consider subscribing to my channel, where I'm going to do a little bit more Lumix content on this channel. As always, my name is Tongue. I'll see you in the next video.